Hey guys, Captain Danny Hampson here, getting all prepped up for a big crossing to the Berry Islands in the Bahamas. Want to go over a few safety essentials with you guys to make sure you stay safe anytime you're undertaking a big crossing, fishing far offshore, just good things to have on board. So obviously, first things first, for each crew member aboard, you want to make sure you have a Coast Guard approved PFD, personal flotation device, life jacket. This is just standard by the book things, and first line of defense, want to make sure you float. You also want to make sure you have a throwable. If someone falls off, you want to make sure you're able to throw something to them quickly so they stay afloat while you come back to retrieve them. So for anyone who's been far offshore knows it's quiet out there, so if you get in trouble, you want to make some noise, alert people to where you're at. You want to make sure you have a noise-making device, whether it be the horn on your boat's dash, whether it be a whistle, a foghorn, whatever it is, you want to make sure if you are in trouble, you can signal with some type of loud noise to let people know your location and know that you need some help. Flares are an absolute essential when you're traveling anywhere far over the water. If anything is to go wrong, you want to be able to alert the other boats in the area that you are in distress. When anyone sees a flare go up, they know that boat needs some assistance and they're going to come over to you, make the calls to get someone else over to you, and really do all they can to provide that assistance. So any type of flare you have, whether it be the flare gun, whether it be the flare beacon, anything, you just need something to really light up the sky and show that you're in need of some assistance. One thing I love to have on board my boat at any time, especially when you're taking a big trip, is an emergency kit, a first aid kit, not just a couple Band-Aids and a little bit of Advil. You really take your time and create a first aid kit that's going to have things that can really come in handy in the event of a large event happening on board the boat. A very overlooked thing in safety preparation for any type of boating is the crew or passengers on board the boat knowing the safety protocols and knowing where the safety equipment is. If the crew isn't aware of what the plan and procedures are or where these items are, you're in the same situation you'd be without even having them. So before you leave the dock, always go over these safety protocols with your crew, your passengers. It's the captain's responsibility, it's the boat owner, the boat operator's responsibility to let people know where these items are and keep everyone safe out there. One thing I think a lot of people take for granted nowadays when they're going out on the water is communication. They think they have their cell phone, they're connected to the world, but that is not always the case once you get out there. Anything can happen. So you want to make sure you have a way to contact other vessels, contact shore, call out an SOS, whatever it is. You want to make sure you have a VHF radio. Having a satellite phone is never a bad idea. Anything you can have to communicate with the outside world and to let people know where you're at and your condition is just huge for safety, and it's something that people have really begun overlooking because they think their phones are magical. You need the old devices, you need the VHF, and having a satellite phone is an excellent tool, especially when you're going on a far crossing to the Bahamas or wherever your travels may take you. A Coast Guard requirement for all boats is to have a fire extinguisher. When you're going on a long trip and depending on the size of your vessel, you want to make sure you have the adequate number of fire extinguishers and that they're all in good working order. They're not expired. If something was to happen out there, you want to make sure the fire extinguishers are in the right place to extinguish the flame and try to neutralize the situation as quickly as possible. One thing that's absolutely essential to do before you leave the dock is have a flow plan. A flow plan is basically the general idea of where you are planning to go while you're on the water. You want to tell this flow plan to someone who is staying on shore, someone who is in a more controlled environment. So if you're not at your given destination or back in, they kind of have a good idea of where you might be, and it'll just help in the case that people are having a difficult time finding you. The flow plan is just a way where you have an extra team on shore looking out for you and your best interest, and it's always good to have as many people as you can watching out for safety. All right, well, that's a great baseline on some safety essentials to have out on the water. I encourage all of you to do your own research, find the safest measures for your particular vessel, and have a great time out there, but always keep safety at the forefront. Thanks so much.